the running game, what adjustments are you going to be keen to make?
Yeah, well, we felt like we had a good plan running-wise, and then we fell down. And I didn't think we did a good job, pressing our inside zone, set up the double teams. A few times we bounced it too early. Young backs will learn from that. I got to look at the film and then see what we got to do. But I think we got to get that run game going, right? So we're not stuck a second long on the D-line team offense.
I imagine though, seeing Arbuckle go down doesn't make you feel any better about where your offensive line is going to be.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm very disappointed in our offensive line. I thought they didn't have a really good performance. We can learn from it. We struggled there a little bit, and we got a lot of depth. So obviously losing Arbuckle, that's a tough deal for him. Is the battle back to all these injuries to get back to where he's at good camp. So Peter will be our center next week while he's out, but we got a lot of depth there.
I'm not going to put everything on Nick because the loss is a team. But what day this week are you going to assess whether or not Chad will be ready to go next week against Cal?
Yeah, we'll see where he's at, right? We got an 8-day week, so we'll have the extra day to kind of see where he's at. But we'll see. I thought Nick did some decent things. Obviously, we had some turnovers there. That's the tough part about it. When we had a chance to get 2 field goals, we take the sack. The running back missed the protection there, and we threw the pick to Coxie. That's 6 points there, right? And then we had the one down there. I don't know how that wasn't an incomplete pass, so I got to look at that.
Yeah, and to go back to that, what explanation were you given about that situation that happened with Nick near the end zone?
Yeah, I mean, Toronto, it's up to them to review that, so I don't know what they see in the command center. So I'll get some information from them. But again, we had too many bad plays to win this football game. Nick Klein's pocket, we had Navarez for the double move, had a chance to really bust back in the game. Unfortunately, we just didn't make the plays, and too many mistakes.
Sorry, I missed the start, but what are some things you take away? I mean, a lot of new faces in your lineup compared to last year in the Grey Cup. What are some things
Well,
you take away?
I think defensively we got a lot to take from, right? A lot to learn from, too. We didn't play a perfect game on defense, but we left them on the field. We're trying to do some no-huddle things to slow them down. And, we're on the field, 2 and out, boom, 2 and out, 2 and out. So they're on the field the whole time. They just got tired at the end, and I thought the fight was there. Those guys didn't quit. They played a full 60, but we just had too many mistakes.
We've seen a lot of good things on film. Going back and watch it, go over the tape, and just move forward. You put the hard work in. Sometimes you don't get the outcome you wanted, but that doesn't mean your hard work went unnoticed. It just means you got to go back to work.
And how much as a leader do you look at these situations as, they are teachable moments, but what is your process ahead of, what will be a significant game? You guys will be raising a championship banner. You're getting your rings. And there can be a bit of distraction after a loss.
Just got to make sure we lock in. We're going to practice this week, and we make sure we get into the details of everything. Don't do nothing extra. Just come to do what we're supposed to do. Go to practice, make plays at practice, and it's going to translate to the game.
What did Montreal do to make it difficult on offense?
They played a good game today. They sent us a lot of things. Blitz a lot. The DBs played good coverages on offense. They made plays. That's just how the game goes, and sometimes it swing your way, sometimes it don't. You just got to make sure you don't rock either.
How aggressive is, when these two teams play each other, but especially that defense, the way they play you, how aggressive are they?
They're real aggressive, and that's their strength, and like I said, those guys played some good ball today. Good thing it was early in the season, so it's a learning moment, and, we going back to the drawing boards.
Nick, against this defense, what challenges present themselves when you can't get the run game going?
They're, a really well schemed. I've had nothing but just the most respect for Thorpe as a defense coordinator ever since 2018 and 19. He brings a lot of different blitz and bluffing blitz looks where they drop into different windows, and he has a good idea of kind of where we like to go with the football, and so he does a good job of putting people in those windows, and you never quite know if you're going to be hot or not until the ball is snapped. And it's most challenging, when you just do it week one, and so you don't have a lot of film and preparation other than last year going off of, and so you're kind of adjusting on the fly as we go, but a lot of things to learn from. At the end of the day, we made some good plays, and looking at the film, we just, we know it was just a lot of little small things, little small details that, could have changed the course of how we did on offense.
And I imagine one of those details, that drop that Tavares had, and you were able to kind of get momentum after a few big shots to Ungerer, and I imagine one of those is you, and he will look back at that as a play that you guys wanted to have.
Oh yeah, I'm going to think about that one for a while. It's one of those things, he ran such a great route, it's something we talked about on the sideline. came back with a play call that me and him had like back in 2018 in Calgary, and hadn't even talked about in years, just from what we saw in the game, and we're able to hit it, but he's one of those things as a quarterback, the receiver's just like so wide open, you don't want to overthrow it, so I just made sure that the ball was there, he could catch it, but at the same time, now he's, looking at the DB chasing him, and, now he's thinking about having to make a move right if he catches it, to try to go and score instead of just being able to run underneath it. And so, I kind of brought that distraction into him that was unneeded with how I threw it, and, something I'm just going to kind of look back on with some regret. But, it was great to be able to do and execute off of never practicing it and just talking about it, and being able to go out there and, almost execute a really great play.
Is there any incentive to getting your rings over the course of this week, knowing obviously it's a different season, different team, but the sacrifice that went into getting that ring, is it just a reminder of the work that needs to go in over the course of 18 games?
I'm sure will be when we get them. Honestly, I kind of forgot about our ring ceremony until my wife told me that she RSVP'd and got a babysitter for it like 5 days ago. I guess they emailed about it a while ago. But yeah, I kind of forgot about the whole Grey Cup festivities in it. But it will be a good, I'm sure, a reminder of what it takes and what we can achieve, even without, the greatest start in the world of the season. I remember going in last year, we were, at the halfway mark, I think right around 500, maybe a game above 500. And then you looked at Winnipeg too. I think they started out like 0-6 or something like that. And so, it's a long season, and it's all about hitting your stride at the right time. And we got to make sure we just build off of this and we don't wait too long to start to find our rhythm.
When you're not able to establish the run, is there anything that you do on the sidelines, whether it's kind of opinions on protection or any of those little details, so that when you're calling something at the line, if you see something at the line that they're doing because of the misdirection, the aggression that Noel Thorpe runs with his defense, is that something that happens at the sidelines?
On the sidelines, yes. You don't get too much of a chance to do things on the field. The 20-second play clock, if you're operating fast and you're getting a play call in, as soon as that play clock is blown, you're breaking the huddle with usually 12 or 13 seconds on the play clock if you're operating pretty well. And so, by the time the offensive line is set, on a good chance, you got 7 or 8 seconds. And so there's really no time at that point to make adjustments based on what you see. And you really kind of just have to react on the fly and, hope everybody else, the O-line, the running backs, the receivers are all on the same page. And, the challenge of, this being a great stadium, great fan base, that they bring a lot of crowd noise. It just makes communication more difficult. So there's a lot of things you just got to overcome when you play here. And, we didn't do it today, but it's definitely something to learn on. And, it's a great challenge to kind of build off of, as we go on the rest of the year.